Hello everybody, Jennifer Maker here. It's a beautiful day to create a super cool effect really easily. Today I'll show you how to create a faux etched look on glass without having to use any etching cream. That's right. This is a quick and simple project with a beautiful result, which I just love. So let me show you how to do this step by step. If you've ever etched glass, you know that it can give some really beautiful results, but gosh, it can be messy. Not to mention there are some pretty major safety concerns to watch out for. You need good ventilation, gloves, a respirator. It can be a lot, especially if you just want to whip up a few decorated wine glasses in a short amount of time. That's why I love frosted vinyl. It can give you an etched glass look super quick and easy. This really is quite an easy project, and I'm going to walk you through the whole thing and give you my best tips for getting a perfect application on the curved surface of the glass. My goal is that you'll get beautiful results the first time and every time. Now you'll need some wine glasses, of course. You'll also need some frosted permanent vinyl like the Cricut frosted premium vinyl right here. You can also find it in the mixed materials Martha Stewart pack. There's some in here. It's awesome. And then, of course, you're going to need transfer tape. You want to use strong grip transfer tape rather than standard grip because frosted vinyl has a bit of a texture and it needs the extra stickiness of the strong grip transfer tape. And to cut out our vinyl, I'll use a Cricut cutting machine to make the decals, but you can use another kind or cut the designs by hand. Other than that, you just need some basic tools. Everything is listed in my materials list. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I recommend having some powdered cinnamon on hand. Why, you ask? I've got a super useful hack that I will show you later. It's going to help you weed your vinyl so much easier. I promise it's not as weird as it sounds. So to make these awesome faux etched wine glasses, you'll need some designs, right? I've got some awesome designs right here for you to use. Aren't these fun? These are going to be so cool. I'm going to show you where to find these right now so you can put them on your own wine glasses. Step 1, get my free frosted vinyl glass designs. You can find my free wine glass designs in my library over at jennifermaker.com/510. Look for libraries in the red bar at the top, and then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the Library. Search the page for design number 510, and then click it to download the zip file. In the folder, you'll find SVG, DXF, and PDF files. You can cut these by hand, but it's so much easier to cut it on a cutting machine. I'm going to show you how to cut them on a Cricut Maker 3 in this video, but you can use any cutting machine for this project, even the tiny but mighty Cricut Joy. The file includes 3 fun designs you can apply to your wine glasses. I'll link to that, Time to Wind Down, and Wine a Little, Laugh a Lot. To make a set, upload the SVGs and add them to your canvas in Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to upload SVG files, learn how over at jennifermaker.com/svgs. Step 2, prepare your designs. Here's how the designs look on my canvas. You can drag them apart to see them all individually. All 3 decal designs are sized for the exact glasses I used in this tutorial, which are 12-ounce wine glasses that sit just under 8 inches tall. If you have different size glasses, you can change the size of the decals. But be careful about going too small because the tiny details will be difficult to weed. You want to make your decal approximately a ½ inch shorter than the area you're decorating. Don't plan to put your decal too close to the rim of the glass, otherwise it can be felt while you're sipping, and that's not ideal. After making sure the lock icon is in the locked position, type your desired size into the height box. Now, if you're using your own designs, just be sure it can be sized appropriately for your glass or whatever surface you're putting these on, and that it isn't too intricate to be cut or weeded. You can also design your own monograms in Design Space, which are super fun and really great for weddings or wedding gifts. Check out my How to Glitter Wine Glasses project over at jennifermaker.com/howtoglitterwineglasses for detailed instructions on making really cool wine glasses. Now, I made the design black so it would be easily visible on the Design Space canvas, but remember that it will be cut from clear frosted vinyl. If you want to use colored vinyl, you can change the color of the design on your canvas by selecting it and then choosing a color from the color box up at the top. And that's it. We're now ready to cut our frosted vinyl. Step 3, cut the vinyl. Check that the right machine is selected and then click Make It. On the Prepare screen, keep the material size at 12 by 12 inches and leave the mirror setting in the Off position. All the decals will appear on a single mat, which is exactly what we want since we're cutting them all out of the same frosted vinyl material. They're pretty close together though, so let's give them some more breathing room to make cutting them apart easier later. Just click and drag each design apart a bit. There, now click Continue. On the Make screen, select the correct material setting for the cut. Since I don't have frosted vinyl bookmarked, I'll click Browse All Materials and use the search box to search for Premium Vinyl. So select Premium Vinyl Frosted Opaque. If you'd like, click the little ribbon to add it to your bookmarked materials so you can find it more easily next time, and then click Done. For the pressure setting, I pretty much always get the best results with the More pressure setting. Since these designs are on the smaller side, you can save material by cutting your vinyl into a size only slightly larger than your designs before you add it to your machine mat. So place your vinyl frosted side up on your green standard grip machine mat, making sure the piece covers the same design area as on the screen. Then make sure it's well adhered with a brayer. Now, since your Cricut will be making some pretty intricate cuts, it's a good idea to clean your blade beforehand. Simply open the clamp and remove the blade housing. Push the plunger down and then carefully poke it in and out of a balled up piece of aluminum foil. Do this about 30 to 40 times. Now, doing this doesn't sharpen the blade, but it does help remove any adhesive residue, oxidation, or anything else that might interfere with your nice, clean, intricate cuts. I do this all the time. It works like a charm. So after you've cleaned your blade, release the plunger and insert the blade housing back into clamp B. Now you can load the mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to begin cutting. If you run into any other issues cutting your materials, check out my Cricut tips and tricks for cleaner cuts at jennifermaker.com/blades. Once the cut is complete, unload your mat, flip your mat over onto your work surface, and peel it away from the vinyl. Now it's time to weed the vinyl. But look how hard it is to see the cut lines. Oh my gosh, they are very difficult to see on this frosted vinyl. To make it easier to see the cut lines for weeding, I have a neat and kind of spicy hack. So sprinkle some ground cinnamon. Yes, ground cinnamon onto the vinyl and lightly brush it over the whole design with your fingertip. The cinnamon falls into the cuts and clearly shows the cut lines of the design. When we use the transfer tape to apply the vinyl to the glass, it will lift the extra powder off of the design, so don't worry, the vinyl looks a little darker after the cinnamon has been applied. Now brush off all the excess cinnamon. See how easily you can see the cut lines now? Isn't this neat? All right, once your excess cinnamon is brushed off, place the vinyl back down on your green standard grip mat to keep it still and in place while you weed it. This really helps with the small, detailed designs like these. It's better to use the cinnamon away from the mat because the powder will stick to it. If that happens, use an alcohol-free baby wipe or wet wipe, or wipe in small circles all around the area until it's clean. Then just lay it flat to dry. For more tips and information on cleaning your Cricut's machine mats, check out my blog over at jennifermaker.com/howtocleancricutmat. When weeding cut vinyl designs, I like to work from larger to smaller sections. Using a weeding tool, very carefully peel away the extra background vinyl. Poke your weeding tool into each section you want to remove, and then gently lift and peel it away from the design. Try not to accidentally pull up any pieces that are part of the design. If they do come up, gently pat them back in place and try again. And don't forget to remove the middle parts of letters. And watch out for small pieces that tend to get lost, like tiny design elements and dots above the lowercase I letters. Now that our frosted vinyl is all weeded, it's time to put it onto our wine glasses. Step 4. Apply the frosted vinyl decals. Now, before we decorate our wine glasses, we first need to apply transfer tape to all of the decals. But first, I'm going to lay down a piece of colored cardstock on my work surface so I can see all of my frosted vinyl and wine glasses a little easier. This part is totally up to you, but it does make it easier to see. Cut the designs apart if you haven't already. Make sure to use the correct transfer tape for the type of vinyl that you're applying. Like I mentioned earlier, frosted vinyl needs strong grip transfer tape due to its texture. So cut a piece of strong grip transfer tape that is slightly larger than the decal that it's going to be applied to. Remove the backer from the transfer tape and then hold the tape sticky side down and curve it in the shape of a taco. Place the bottom curve of the taco onto the middle of your design. And smooth the transfer tape over the decal from the center outward, adhering it well with a scraper tool. Next, clean your glasses by using a little isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free material. I like to use coffee filters. This will remove any oil or residue that might prevent the vinyl from fully sticking to the glass. Now set the cardstock aside and lay down a folded towel on your work surface. This will help protect and stabilize the wine glass while you apply your decal. You don't need to do this part unless you want to, but now I'm going to take the cardstock and I'm going to cut a strip about as tall as the inside of the glass. Then I'll roll up the cardstock and stick it inside the glass. This will make seeing the decal much easier. All right, it's time to apply the designs to the glasses. Start by removing the liner from the vinyl decal. If the vinyl does not stick to the transfer tape, because this can happen, lay it back down and burnish it with your scraper tool again. Carefully peel your transfer tape off the vinyl backing. Now use your scissors to make some small cuts around the edges of the transfer tape. Cut into the areas with vinyl, but be careful not to nick any of the actual vinyl design. Making these small cuts like this will help you evenly apply the vinyl to the curve of the glass without any wrinkling or buckling. Place the center of your decal halfway between the rim and where the bottom of the bowl of the glass begins to curve. Using your finger, rub from the center of the vinyl outward, smoothing the vinyl down into place and working out any bubbles that may be trapped underneath. Now, some of the transfer tape might overlap other parts of the tape, and that's okay. This is how you get the best application on a curved surface like this. Gently remove the transfer tape, leaving the vinyl on the glass. If the transfer tape rips because of the cuts you've made, don't worry, just remove it in pieces. Smooth out any bubbles that may have been missed, working from the center outward. Be careful not to press too hard. You don't want to break the glass. Sometimes the really thin parts of a vinyl decal don't lay down correctly and they form bumps that can't be pushed down. If this happens, you can very carefully peel the vinyl back up off the glass with a weeding tool and then gently push it back down. And as you can see, the cinnamon is pretty much gone. The transfer tape really does lift it all up. Usually, you can reuse transfer tape a few times. However, if you're using cinnamon like I did, you'll want to cut a new piece for each of your decals. This will help prevent any of the cinnamon from getting under the next decal, which is definitely not what you want. Look at how beautiful that looks. Step 5, show it off. And that's all there is to it. Your faux etch glass is now ready to celebrate a special occasion or give as a quick and easy gift. Or just fill it with wine and enjoy. I'll toast to that. Aren't these so amazing? I love how they look like real etched glasses, but this was so much easier and the cleanup is virtually non-existent, unlike etching with chemicals, right? So a slight drawback to using frosted vinyl versus actually etching your glasses is that the vinyl applied glasses are not dishwasher safe. I tend to hand wash stemmed wine glasses anyway, so this isn't a big deal for me, but it may be a drawback for some people. That said, hand washing with warm water and a mild dish soap should make your decals last a good long while. Now, if you have any questions about working with vinyl, transfer tape, applying vinyl to glass, or anything else craft related that you think I can help you with, please let me know. You can leave your question below this video or ask over in our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. Come post and share all of your faux etched glasses with me. I want to see them. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.